I will do everything I can as Prime Minister to steady the ship over the coming weeks and months. But I do not think it would be right for me to try to be the captain that steers our country to its next destination.
We've had some dramatic changes to the British cabinet, expected and not so expected. The expected change was the dropping of Suella Braverman as Home Secretary, not just expected but inevitable. She had taken on a confrontation with the police. She had accused them of unprofessionalism and bias in favor of what she called pro-Palestinian mobs, and this really created quite a stir. And these were remarks that she had made in the course of an article published in the Times as the ministerial code demands that needed to be cleared from 10 Downing Street. It was duly submitted. Number 10 wanted changes which she then refused to make. She clearly opposed what Prime Minister Sunak's office had demanded of her, and that was a clear violation of the ministerial code. But it was not just protocol that proved her undoing. The fact is that the entire cabinet seems to have risen in revolt against her. There was really no choice left for Sunak but to sack her. Immediately after the publication of the article, Sunak had announced that she still has his support, but clearly in the face of the growing unease over her words and her policies, she had to be dropped. The other change, and this really no one had foreseen, was former Prime Minister Cameron inducted into the cabinet as Foreign Secretary. Clearly, this has come out of the blue, and it appears to have been a late decision. This does make some sense on two counts principally. One is that Brexit has been a continuing divisive issue. It clearly is not working very well for Britain. Cameron had opposed it. His inclusion now will placate the Europeans, and there has been an issue about trade with the EU that's not been going very well at all. He would be the best bet to talk to EU leaders and others about Britain's policies and positions given the post-Brexit scenario. Also, Cameron has been a leader, and as Prime Minister, he had won a fair amount of support among Palestinians. He had described Gaza as an open-air prison and the world's largest open-air prison. He did go back on that somewhat, but he is seen as a voice that is a lot more acceptable in the Middle East than are some others in Britain, and to that extent he will be a very welcome choice among many around the world as the Foreign Secretary now. So these are the two real critical ministries of the government, the Home Office and the Foreign Office, or the Foreign and Development Office as it is now called. This will be a very significant change in direction under the leadership now of Cameron as Foreign Secretary and James Cleverly as the Home Secretary. And Cleverly is a far more acceptable person certainly than Braverman. Almost anyone would be, but Braverman out, it cannot be anything but good news for the government.